Welcome back to Noise Avocation Podcast. I'm Ryan here with Jeremy
What up?
in the new studio setup. I feel like we get to talk back and forth a little easier this way. Plus,
Yeah, definitely.
You get to see a little more of the studio wall and stuff too. Maybe we'll give a tour of over here sometime on our MTV Cribs episode.
If MTV exists still.
It exists, but it's all reality shows.
Oh shit.
It's been that way for a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Given everything that's been going on, you got the Super Bowl coming up with Kendrick playing, which that's the biggest thing about the Super Bowl to me there is that. But with Kendrick winning 5 Grammys recently for the diss song, which a lot of people were like, well, LL Cool J won it for Mama Said Knock You Out, which technically wasn't a diss song.
Wasn't even gonna put it on the fucking album.
That's
dude.
what I'm saying. It was supposed to be just a single. That won a Grammy, but it wasn't directed at anybody. And also, we left a few things off here. So, just as a disclaimer before we jump into this, Who Shot Ya wasn't actually a diss track. It was just bad timing for the release on P. Diddy's part, which was probably planned. We'll see that in court eventually, I guess. Kick in the Door we left off just because it was kind of vague. Like, it wasn't really directed at anybody in particular, more so...
Yeah, we got ones that are way more personal, it
was kind of like just a fuck you to everybody type
right.
of thing.
And we think the ones that are directed solely at one person have a lot more, dude, people have way more passion when they're just bitching about one person. And usually they have, funnier lines.
Well, I mean, anybody can, diss a whole, say, East Coast, West Coast beef was, they didn't like each other because hip-hop started in the East, they say, and some say it started in the West, some say it started with drums in Africa. Who knows?
I think
really,
it's... I just want to say I think it started in, advertising or in promotion or something. That was, the greatest fucking thing for sales, ever, dude.
Well, because... from what I've always heard from interviews is it wasn't called any of that. It was just, that was the lifestyle.
Right. It was our beats are better than yours. Our rappers are better than yours. We just, that's pride, a little pride in your hometown. And they took that shit way too far.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point about the marketing though. Cause that really did make a difference.
And they're the first ones that were the East Coast. I think it was I don't know if it was The Source or Triple X or whatever was out at the time, but somebody coined the phrase or whatever.
That's the most notorious beef of all time.
Yeah.
The Tupac Biggie beef, the East versus West, the Common versus Cube. Common was Chicago, but it's
you don't want the producer
more East than
all
West.
Up in the videos. I love that shit from the Source Awards. Yeah, and that shit cost people, a couple people their lives, man. That shit's crazy.
Which is unfortunate, and I'm not
Yeah, it sucks, dude. I wish both of them were still around to fucking put out more shit.
What do you think Tupac and Biggie would be up to music-wise if they were still rapping today? You think they would have followed suit and kind of tried to adjust to how things are now, or sort of played in their own role?
I think Tupac would be in politics in one way or another. I don't even think he'd be doing music anymore.
A lot of people have said acting.
Yeah, he could have been doing that. I could see that too.
I think I could see acting 100%. Look at how big Ice-T, Method Man. I mean, even 50.
That's what he went to school for too. And unless you're a lot of people in hip hop world know that shit, but people outside of it don't know that he went to acting school or whatever.
Tupac.
Yeah, in Baltimore, and then.
I've heard he was, he was good in the movies that he was in, but I've heard, on set, guy was just, really focused and really wanted to be about acting. He wasn't fucking around.
Right. Biggie, it's hard to say only because I know he wouldn't be with Puff.
Oh, no, that would be,
he
was on his way out
right,
anyway.
Which is totally another reason, I think he might not be around. That's a whole nother episode. That's 20 years. Has anybody... lasted that long? I guess Dre just put something out in Snoop Dogg, but it's not fucking groundbreaking or anything. But
that's 30 years at this point.
Right. It would be
96 would be, yeah.
God,
so
damn it, getting old. That's my point though. Is
Jeremy just turned 40, by the way, on Friday for listeners.
In hip hop, you know what I mean? Though they forget real quick. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's cool that Ice-T's still relevant, but he's, like, more relevant
He's
in
more
the
known as
metal,
an actor
in the
and for
metal
body
world,
count.
yeah, and an actor than he is for,
It's fucked
6
up
in the
that
morning.
Ice-T could sell out more than likely an arena bigger with body count than he would with just himself.
Just Ice-T.
And I've actually seen that because
I believe it.
I seen Ice Cube and what they called was NWA on the tickets, but it was Ice Cube, DJ Yella, and then Ice Cube's son. Ice Cube's
2 out of
son,
5's not bad.
Yeah, like Ice Cube's son did like most of MC Ren's parts and shit. But anyways, Ice-T also played, and it was at Van Andel in Grand Rapids, and it was not that busy like at all. Like
Wasn't
there
that
was
many
empty
people?
seats like all around me on the sides. And I mean, granted, it was I think it was like a Wednesday or something weird. Like it
Fucking
wasn't
crazy, though.
But still, like the guy's a legend, so you would think like
And people are so fucking busy. My old lady saw Ice-T with her friend at or not Ice-T, I'm sorry, Ice Cube, at a casino.
you remember when he was
So
doing
crazy.
like Family Values tour and shit,
Yeah,
like with
yeah.
Korn and stuff.
Yeah.
The '90s was a weird time.
No, it was cool that all that shit kind of meshed like that.
Yeah, it was like the new metal hip hop blend, like the Limp Bizkits, the Linkin Parks, like all
Yeah.
that shit. Like Method Man was up in a Limp Bizkit video,
Yeah.
and like there was that whole crossover.
There's a big, those are like big gateway bands for that time, you know what I mean?
And all that shit's coming back now. Like who fucking ever thought Limp Bizkit would be relevant
Not
again?
this guy.
I don't even think he thought. Like
No,
he's
definitely
probably
not.
just as shocked as everybody else is.
Shit's so weird. And he's not even, well, I just saw something like where,
And Jinko jeans are cool again too.
yeah, that's fucking strange. But, great songwriters who are horrible lyricists, or vice versa, you know what I mean? Or like, Limp Bizkit would be one. Like, he can write a pop song, but he can't write, like, fucking Simon and Garfunkel, you know what I'm saying? Like, or Bob Dylan. He's just like, why did it take so long? Huh?
I will say that one song, It's Just One of Those Days, it's a pretty badass song.
You like that song?
I do. Just because it's angry and shit.
I don't mind the,
It just reminds
tracks off
me
the
of
first
like
album, but-
everybody's had one of those literal fucking days where you're just like fuck everything. And I don't remember how old I was when that shit came out, 10 maybe or something. Like I was young, so I was impressionable.
oh, for sure. My song for that is Spit My Last Breath. So I try not to listen to that song very much. Because, like, it's fuck, you know, like you said, it just makes you fucking,
But anyway, you
Wow.
asked if anybody's made it 30 years. So Eminem,
that's true.
he's still pretty, sells out quite a bit. Dr. Dre, Snoop, Ice Cube, those guys are all still doing stuff. Like, I just don't know that they're...
But, but relevant in music,
Yeah, well,
Would be
hip-hop's
Dre,
weird where people are
because
like...
he's producing, you know, I'll give him that.
Yep.
And
DJ
Eminem,
Premier still producing for a lot of people.
Yep.
Pete Rock, all those guys. Producers is kind of a different
yeah, they kind of have
ballgame,
better
though. Like you
longevity.
have more versatility
Way
because
more
you're going to be still
versatility.
making beats, whereas somebody may or may not want your voice on their song or whatever. But I see Method Man on shit all the time still.
Yeah, there's still people doing a lot of features and shit, which is cool.
I mean, Redman dropped Muddy Waters 2 at the end of last year,
Yeah.
and that shit was phenomenal. So they're definitely out there. It's just, I think hip hop isn't like rock music, how like Keith Richards and Ozzy and all those guys are held in high regard. Like people still give a shit what Roger fucking Waters has to say.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of which, I did see the Dark Side of the Moon version for Record Store Day, the Roger Waters version.
Hmm.
Interesting.
But in hip hop, they're like, well, if you're old, like, we're fuck
Yeah,
you.
fuck
Like,
you.
take a seat. Like, it's my time now, which is weird because.
But it's
But I
like,
think it's also like there's a
keep it
lot
fresh,
of
you
a
know?
lot of ego there where you're like, hey, you know, that's the mentality. Like, you have to be like, fuck you, I'm the best. Like,
yeah, that's
so
true.
you're gassing yourself up. Like, and I mean, you should kind of think that, but also like while respecting the people that helped pave the way along. But there is a lot of that out there. Like Kendrick definitely pays homage to everybody that was inspired by, and a lot of the younger dudes do. But I have seen a lot of like just some of the other people like that I don't even listen to, like Lil Pump. Just
Yeah,
kind
that's
of be
not
like, fuck all
not
that
my
shit.
style.
Like we don't, and not mine either. But
But
I've seen clips.
that's a
clips
totally
in
different,
interviews and
like,
whatnot.
I think a totally different style almost, too.
It is.
Draws
And
like a
it
totally
has its
different
own
crowd and
it
shit.
has its own place and shit.
Yep.
Like the music's gotta evolve. I mean, there's gotta be newer artists for young kids to discover, and maybe it'll help them fall onto something that was influencing that artist or
Yeah,
whatever.
I guess the Biggie and Tupac still alive question is kind of like if Jimi Hendrix was still playing guitar type of thing. It's like, it's really hard to say.
All right, yeah, because there's a lot of times where
That's-
you have to wonder, like, is somebody as big as what they are because they passed, or
Right.
were they? Because a lot of people aren't held in that high regard before they go.
Very rarely. Maybe Bowie would be one that was,
Yeah,
and then he just got a little boost. But he was
Prince.
always Prince, yeah. But no, yeah, everybody. That's kind of like that whole like, oh, he died. That's so sad. But like everybody really like didn't like the person while they were alive and shit, and then they just flip it like, just for like sympathy or something.
Oh, I've seen that in like high school
Oh,
and shit,
yeah, for
where
sure.
like people had died. Like I knew this kid that died when I was in 8th grade from a drug overdose. Like people that didn't even like talk to him or that were like fucking with him were like, oh, like I loved him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, motherfucker, you were just giving him shit like a week
Same
ago.
shit
Like
happened to me in 7th grade.
I knew him, but I didn't like. He
Yeah, I
wasn't
didn't.
like one
I
of my
didn't know
friends
mine.
really. So, but sad nonetheless. Like it was shitty to see. It's crazy to think about because like that my kid's that age. So
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
to put that into perspective, you're like, damn, like that kid was dealing with some shit.
Not to get too far off, but the kid in junior high in 7th grade that passed away, he just had a heart attack. Wasn't not drug related. And
He
then,
must have had something condition
Yeah.
wise because that's not really all that
but
common.
but it was the same kind of thing because he was kind of like a troublemaker type, and then he was like the best boy ever, you know.
Yeah,
It's like, damn, dude.
I got you.
But I didn't know him personally. Anyway, so we're talking about fucking.
So anyway, we were getting into rap beefs, and instead of breaking down like all the, like Jay-Z versus Nas, Common versus Cube, et cetera, we wanted to just give what we feel are our version of 10 of the best diss songs out there. And these are in order. Usually we don't do this shit in order. In the comments, let us know what you guys think. Obviously, everybody's going to have a different number of what's where, but if you feel we left something off and should have added it, let us know. If there's songs that you would have put at a different spot, let us know. Starting at number 10, though, 50 Cent, who is like the king of being petty, I have to say. I mean, everybody knows that story about how he bought out the front row at Ja Rule's concert, so nobody showed up. And
That's fucking hilarious.
I've seen Ja Rule being like, "Yo, that didn't happen," and there's videos of it.
Of
and
just
shit.
nobody
like,
there.
Yeah. And he was like, I think he was on like Jimmy Kimmel or something, and they interviewed him about it, and he was like, it was only like $3,000.
I was gonna say like he still got paid
He's
for
like,
it.
the tickets aren't even that much. Like my sister was buying them on a coupon app or whatever. But anyway, 50 Cent Back Down off Get Rich or Die Trying. If you haven't heard the song, was obviously directed at Ja Rule. Like there was lines like "You sing for hoes and sound like the Cookie Monster," and he had this like fucking like hood rat girl at the end, like talking about Jeffrey Atkins and shit. And the song is just hilarious. I actually remember when Ja Rule was like big. You remember when Rule 316 came out, and that like him and Ashanti and all that was fucking massive.
I didn't even think about the album, but I remember all those singles because I was like
the
whatever
Red
age.
album with his face on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had that album. I'm not gonna lie.
You're fucking 8 years younger than me, 7 years younger than me.
Looking like sometimes you listen to
just
something.
Pop music. I mean, those are like good love pop songs, honestly.
But you ever listen to something later on down the road that you listened to when you were younger, and you're just like,
what the fuck?
Nope, can't do it
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one of those records.
Well, in doing this, I just found out, because I didn't know a whole lot about this beef, but Ja Rule was apparently robbed at gunpoint in Jamaica, Queens, and 50 Cent alleges that Ja Rule was witnessing him hanging in the club with the culprit weeks after the incident sparked the bad blood. So who knows?
Yeah, that was a big beef, and I think he even still like he'll take like little shots on Ja Rule.
That's
and
what
stuff,
this article Double XL was saying like a 20-year beef and it's still going.
Yeah, I love 50 Cent, man. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah, like Wankster. That's kind of
Yeah,
that's a shit
that was
talking
kind of a
one that
diss
could
song
be on
too, but
here.
it
Yeah.
just wasn't really directed at anybody. But
Yeah.
guy makes great TV shows, and he's a fucking marketing genius. Like if you've never heard the song "How to Rob," he basically disses like everybody in hip hop. And he even brings out like Keith Sweat and
Shit.
Blackstreet and like all this random shit. But it was just like a marketing tactic off a mixtape to get people talking about it because, he's talking about like robbing Big Pun and stealing ODB's money and taking
Speaking of which,
Juvenile's gold teeth.
I love
and shit.
Big Pun, probably like one of my top favorite rappers, and he died yesterday. So, and I saw pictures of him like about our size, dude.
For real?
For real.
I never seen those.
Fucking crazy small, dude.
That's crazy. I wonder how he got.
He must have been. It must have been like taking meds or.
Yeah, something.
Or
I have seen that.
Food
happen.
addiction, or I don't know. But anyway, 50 Cent also had a song about Ja Rule called "I Smell." Anybody out there that knows who 50 Cent is or who Ja Rule is, I just think of them battling in a rap battle.
Like, who would put, yeah.
It's like 50 just run the fuck over him.
Well, because
dude.
50 could actually like write
Right.
rap. Like Ja Rule.
Ja Rule is like a college boy pop star.
He could rap a little bit and whatnot. Like, I'm not saying I can rap.
I'm not saying he's a college boy pop star. That was ludicrous.
Man, he had some hits.
But you think the hits were Irv Gotti or the hits were?
They were probably Irv Gotti.
Yeah.
Honestly, they might have been even more Irv Gotti and Ashanti like combined.
Yeah.
Like her time at that time, like her rise was.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to her.
Maybe I'm thinking of some re-releases, but there was something of hers that came out like maybe a year ago.
Interesting.
Anyway, moving on. Number 9, Cypress Hill's "No Rest for the Wicked," which if you never heard that, was directed at Ice Cube. I actually don't know the story, or at least I don't remember the story immediately off the top of my head of how this beef started.
So Cypress Hill claimed that the hook from Ice Cube's single "Friday" was stolen from their song "Throw Your Set in the Air."
Right. That's right.
Because they were supposed to do a song on that on Friday and shit, and then I forget exactly why they weren't on it. Because Be Real is supposed to be in the movie too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was supposed to play that Mexican dude. Like that's, when Smokey's in the back and they're smoking dust, he was supposed to be the dude driving.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're
and
talking
then
about.
something happened to where they couldn't do it, or I don't know. I think that's where that beef started.
Yeah, I know they're cool now. Because I've seen them like be on podcasts,
which is fucking awesome because that's how it should be. Like, grow the fuck
absolutely. I mean, Jay-Z and Nas are cool now, so if they can do it, like anybody can do it. I love Cypress Hill, man. Like, if I had to make a top 10 hip hop groups of all time, they'd be in there somewhere, guaranteed. Like,
you can't think of anything that sounds like it. Nobody sounds like Cypress Hill. It's just.
Their beats are always unique.
Yep.
Be Real probably has one of the most unique voices and immediately identifiable voices in hip-hop. They were just crazy dope.
Yeah, man.
But they were also vicious as fuck. Like, this diss is, it's some tough shit. Well, the next one I would say is this one was kind of more unexpected. Common's The Bitch in You was actually also about Ice Cube.
Yep.
I didn't even realize that
we did that
until just
either.
now. The story on this one, this actually was talked about on Drink Champs, I think, not that long ago. Common had that "I Used to Love Her" song and had the line where he said, "I wasn't mad, she was fucking with the boys in the hood," et cetera, et cetera. So Ice Cube heard that and then thought it was a Boys in the Hood, diss or a slight towards them. And he dissed Common on the West Side Connection record.
Okay.
It was hilarious. I remember watching the interview where Common was like, my first reaction was, damn, Ice Cube knows who I am. I was like,
sick.
Oh, man, that's dope. And I didn't know that Pete Rock did that song until that interview, actually, because he was on the interview with him talking about how
he's the one that did the beat?
He produced the beat for
Oh,
it.
that's sick. I didn't know that. I like the "You ain't made shit since America's Most Wanted, deceased from the Midwest to the East, on the dick of the East for your first release. And then I can't say anymore."
But you don't expect Common to be that, like,
no,
because
fuck no.
Common was common sense. He was sort of like the more
intellectual, smooth.
like smooth kind of.
Definitely.
You know, he was from Chicago. Like he was more into that like bluesy, almost jazzy type of laid back, like smoky pool lounge type of shit. But like also being wise, like in his music. Not that Ice Cube wasn't, but it was a different approach. So you didn't expect him to like come out like that because he wasn't, you know, from NWA. He wasn't like talking a bunch of street shit, and he absolutely just went crazy.
I think that's what made it so good, though, too, is like it was so out of left field for him, you know?
Yeah, because you're expecting him to be the calm, level-headed, cool guy, and he just comes out swinging. Like, he did not miss any punches on that. Like, and actually, now that I look at this, like, when we go to number 7, that's another Ice Cube.
Yeah, I know. Just like it's all Ice Cube hate.
Those were all unintentional. We didn't realize that. Like, damn, Ice Cube, we made some enemies.
Dude. The next one is Eazy-E's Real Motherfucking G's, and it's like supposed to, you know, it's directed at Dre, but he talks shit about everybody.
Yeah, he throws everybody under the bus on it.
Funny thing is though, is Cube wrote his motherfucking lines for Boys in the Hood, so like I always found that amusing. Like you're talking shit, but
you're
because that's the
throwing
only
your ghostwriter under
right. That's the only one like on this list that's a ghostwriter. Like I think he's the only one that even gets like a pass for that shit.
I would say Eazy does probably get the biggest pass in hip hop for ghostwriting because a lot of people shit on that. But in pop music, like ghostwriting's been done forever. Like they've been doing that shit since Motown and way, way, way before that.
Well, I mean, I hate to bring up Taylor Swift, but she started out doing her own shit, and now she's just like anybody else, fucking.
But in hip hop, it's often been like
that's a whole different thing. You don't
write your own bars, like you're having somebody else do it. Like
that's
what's the point of you spitting your rhymes?
Yeah. That's fucked up.
But that's where the whole like difference between hip hop songs and pop songs come into play, like the Drake thing.
Yeah.
Drake is pop.
Like I was saying earlier,
pop star.
When
with
my
bars,
mom
I
is
guess,
like, I don't know if I like Drake or I like Kendrick. I'm just like it's just like a mind fuck for me, you know.
And your mom doesn't even like listen to any of that.
No, dude, it's just she hears about it. It's fucking weird.
That's crazy that it's on the radio. And stuff.
Yeah.
At number 6, we got BDP's "The Bridge Is Over," which was the whole conflict between KRS-One and MC Shan and Juice Crew and all that stuff. Melly Mel was tied into that.
I love this fucking beat on this song.
Yeah, this was one of the earlier hip-hop beefs. Like this came out in 1987, and the argument was like sort of where hip-hop started. Like some were saying it started in the Bronx, others were saying Queensbridge, like, and it was a back and forth. And MC Shan had, you know, diss tracks with like "Kill That Noise" coming back at him and stuff. And I love MC Shan, but I also love BDP and Melly Mel and all that shit. Like that's that's the golden era
awesome
of hip hop right there.
Definitely.
Is all the classic shit. This was probably one of the most notable beefs in hip hop, though, as far as going back in history, just because that was like one of the first like real big feuds.
I would say, because I was like looking into what was considered the first big. And it was one like with Kool Moe Dee.
Yeah, Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J.
Right.
How You Like Me Now. And
but this one seemed to be like way more like just because it's further on, just like more people knew about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that the Kool Moe Dee How You Like Me Now album. You've seen the cover, right? Where it's the Jeep and there's the Kango under the right tire. That was a straight shot.
Yeah, dude, that shit's so funny. More people need to do that. Fucking put like disses on covers and
like
shit.
A little Where's Waldo thing. Like,
yeah, dude.
Like
over everything.
Well, I mean, Kendrick
I'm sure
did
they
it.
do.
Kendrick did it like a little subliminal hidden thing where he's got wearing the Canadian tuxedo at the Grammys and shit.
Right.
That was definitely a shot at Drake. Number 5. Are you doing number 5 or am I doing number 5?
Number 5 is Mobb Deep. Drop a gem on him.
So this was about Tupac.
Yep.
And obviously hip-hop heads know this, but I think like outside of that, like people who maybe not have dove as deep as Mobb Deep.
Yeah, right.
They might not know it.
Right.
So this is definitely worth mentioning. And I mean, Mobb Deep was ruthless as fuck. Like those kids, they were hard as shit at like 13 and probably even before that.
Like
Mobb
Fucking
Deep
Queens
they were those
Project
kids that
and
were
shit.
like in City of God, like sticking motherfuckers up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Real ass shit. What I love about this song too is it's like a classic fucking Mobb Deep song. Simple beat, just boom bap, and just dude, Prodigy's just fucking sick.
I love
Havoc on the first verse, damn.
I love the Who Shot You. You probably screamed louder than
Yeah,
the opera line.
yeah, dude.
That was fucking
And
vicious, man.
And that's just it's like to me Mobb Deep, and I love Tupac, but that's like apples and oranges, man. If you had bet those two battle, both of them, Havoc and Prodigy, walk all over Tupac, dude.
I think so too.
They
And
just
that's a very unpopular opinion there. But
I'm just saying, dude.
I
I'm not
I don't
saying
think
Biggie,
Tupac really like he did do the.
but I'm saying
Don't
straight up
you-
battling, like
Yeah.
he's not gonna be able to do that. I don't think.
I don't think so. That'd be a good hologram concert to have Prodigy and Tupac
Oh shit,
go back and forth at each other.
that's a fucking golden idea.
Mobb Deep's on tour right now. It's like Havoc, and that song's tough as fuck. And Hell on Earth is the infamous. I love it. It's an amazing record. It's classic. There is zero skippable songs.
Right.
It's perfect. But I love Hell on Earth
Me too.
just as much.
I only have a CD of it.
Yeah, that's a record that needs a re-release. But
Yeah,
we're
for
coming up
sure.
on 30 years, so I think that'll definitely be.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We'll see that on Get On Down in the near future, I'm sure.
That would be cool. Original cover.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have the original gatefold.
Yeah, I always hear you talk about that.
Yeah, so just a little fun record tip. If you ever find an original pressing of Mobb Deep Hell on Earth, it had a gatefold cover, and when you fold it out, there's Prodigy sitting at a table, Havoc's there, and a couple other people are there. And there's the ghosts of two people on the sides of them were friends of theirs that passed away. If I remember in Prodigy's book, they got killed, I believe. Later versions didn't have that, so that's how you know if you have the true original
that's pretty
or not.
cool.
But it's pretty pricey to find. It's not crazy. It's like in the $100, $120, $150 range, but
It's a lot of money for a hip hop album.
it's just hard to find to where you're like, okay, I'd spend $150 on this if I can guarantee that it's like near mint.
Yeah,
But
and you
a lot of them you
it's all
see,
online.
it's like it'll say like VG, and you're like, I don't know.
No, yeah, and you can't trust that because somebody's VG could be just fucking nasty.
Yeah. Number 4, Tupac's "Hit 'Em Up,"
Yeah,
which is probably one of the most famous diss songs of all time.
I would say that it was
And
the first diss song that was famous for sure. I mean, that shit
it
was on the news,
yeah,
dude.
it was huge. Because hip hop wasn't as big like before that, and it was
Right.
continuously growing, and
Yeah,
it
this
still
was-
is
yeah,
growing.
rock
so
still
that makes,
dominated
Yeah,
at
that
that
makes
time.
sense. Yeah, I could agree with it being one of the biggest, or if not the biggest.
Like that whole "you about to feel the wrath of a menace" and how he says it, man, that scared the fuck out of people.
Yeah. Well, I like right when the song starts off, and he's like, "That's why I fucked your
Yeah, yeah,
bitch, you
yeah,
fat
dude.
mother." Like,
Oh, I know,
that
man.
like set the whole tone
I
for the
know.
song, where
It's
you're
so
like, "Oh
fucking
damn, this
nasty.
is gonna be fucking nasty."
Yeah.
I remember like walking to my bus stop in 6th grade listening to that shit. I would have loved to see more like back and forth with Tupac and Mobb Deep, like, because he had a few lines here and there in songs about him where he
Yeah,
said some shit. But,
some sickle cell shit, but
yeah.
that was it.
I think he said there was something else in one other song that was like a little jab at him too, but there wasn't like
In
a
the Know
full
Your
on,
Enemies
yeah.
song, he talked shit about Prodigy and that.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's just like a little jab.
It's a little jab. It wasn't like a whole song. But
yeah, it wasn't like what he was doing to Biggie.
Yeah, but as far as like a musical sports standpoint, like I didn't want to see neither of them like get wrapped up into some shit that would have got them hurt. But as far as like the lyrical battle, I would have loved to see that shit.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Number 3, speaking of big diss songs,
Yep.
this is arguably the biggest diss song of all time. I would have to say it is. It won 5 Grammys.
From a money point of view, it's made the most money, that guaranteed.
Yeah.
Got him on a fucking Super Bowl, dude.
On the Super Bowl, and we haven't seen it yet. This will be the day after the Super Bowl when you're hearing this, so we'll see. As far as I know, he's playing it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And I think it's just going to be crazy. Like, you seen the pop-out concert with like 15,000 people chanting that whole thing. Like, imagine a Super Bowl stadium.
That's crazy.
That's going to be bizarre. That's, to me, why I think it's the biggest. Like, the Grammy thing is crazy, but like that doesn't necessarily mean anything at the end of the day. I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to say bought and paid for, but it's definitely a favorable system.
How many people does the stadium hold that they're doing the? Do you know? If you go from 15,000 to say 60,000,
65,000.
There you go, 65,000
Yeah.
fucking people, dude.
Well, like, wasn't
Holy
it?
shit.
You read that news article like a year or so ago about Taylor Swift's concert causing like a magnitude shift like in the earth from like just the amount of people or whatever.
Yeah, isn't that gnarly?
I mean, this may very well do the same thing, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know how many people that takes. I'm not I'm not a geologist.
They're popping
like,
all that bass, dude, and it's fucking bridges start going, man. That'd be fucking crazy.
And I don't remember if we even said it, but Not Like Us is number 3. We just started going at it. But when we said 5 Grammys, people, I assume you knew or have heard the news. And I mean, that shit's on NPR. It's on Apple Radio.
It's everywhere.
The interviews are everywhere. It's wild, like how huge that is.
It's definitely the most.
Dude, it cracked top 3. That's impressive. Like, and
it's definitely the most profitable. And it is fucking, from a technical standpoint, nasty as fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like, it's not like some half-ass shit.
Destroyed him. My favorite thing about this is people are finally being like, oh, cool, I can, they're getting rid of the pact mentality where everybody's like, oh, yeah, Drake's cool, whatever, like, just because he's big. And now they're like, fuck Drake. And I like that, but
it's funny how it goes,
It's funny how it goes, because, like, I've always been like, fuck Drake. Like, I never cared for Drake.
Me too.
The only time I tolerate him is if he's on a song that has a feature that I like, and that's it.
I never got into him either.
I've tried to listen to his early stuff. I've tried to listen to the stuff that people are like, oh, you got to hear this though or this though, and it does not do it for me. I never liked him. He was always a pop star to me.
Yeah,
so.
if you can't convince me otherwise, like, you got to convince me of what you're trying to say, and he's the type that doesn't convince me.
Not only that, but also just be who you are. Like, don't try to be like. There's room in hip hop for everybody. Like. There's all different facets of people.
In my mind, I just see, like, you know, teeny boppers at a Drake show.
Well, it's like that Mos Def interview where he was like, I associate Drake's music with shopping.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
It's like you would hear his song in, like, Target or whatever.
No, you're right. It'd be like Mariah Carey in the fucking 90s or whatever, singing about love and shit. It's the same deal.
Yep, same shit. But I also want to add that I think Euphoria gets swept under the rug a little just because it isn't as big as Not Like Us, and it's not a song you can really chant to. Like, Not Like Us has that, like, the chorus.
Yeah,
like, I mean, that
has the gang vocal.
It's unifying. It's like, their gang vocal. Like,
but do you think technically the Euphoria is better?
I'm not saying it's better. I just want to point out that it is great. And even Meet the Grams was great. And his Kendrick's line on Like That on the Future Metro Boomin track, like, it was great. All those songs that were in the bulk package of the disc. They're all great. But Euphoria gets not as much attention, obviously. And there was some absolutely vicious fucking lines in there, like, throughout the whole thing. Like,
gotta be the chant, time and place.
It is. It's the chant, the time, the place. And I mean, like, it's the more catchy of the two songs. I get it. Like,
now, do you think there's something, because they're on the same label, do you think that there is some bullshit to it, or do you think it's a legit beef?
So at first, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, well, you guys are on the same label. But, like, that happened with the Eminem and MGK thing. Like, their labels were both, their master label was Interscope.
Uh-huh.
I kind of thought maybe even that was sort of like a fabricated thing. Then it started to, like, escalate. Like, you seen, like, the songs coming out, and then you're like, okay, I don't know that this is really like once you hear what's in the songs, you're like, I don't know that this is a
right. With this, that's why I'm asking, like, because he's saying some fucking very
so
vile
I originally,
shit.
because I didn't hear all the songs weren't even out.
Right,
it was just hearsay at that point. Like, the Like That verse was out, and you heard, like, Kendrick take some shots at Drake because Drake was taking little shots here and there and has been for a while. Like as you like hear the content of in the songs, you're like, oh, this isn't no like fucking marketing thing. Like this is for real. Like
It might be.
and I think Drake thought this was gonna be like sort of oh cool, we're gonna bounce off each other.
Yeah.
They were gonna sort of have a playful thing. And
See,
just
I didn't think it was going to be playful, but I just
no, I
was
think
like,
Drake probably thought that.
either way, he's getting
'Cause-
paid, but he's going to be fucking career's like over now.
I
would
I
say.
think he'll still do fine.
You
but
think
I
so?
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. There's enough people that still listen and like the guy.
That's horrible.
I know, but I think he just underestimated Kendrick severely. Like he didn't know that he was going to come out with the punches
It's like,
that
oh, I
he came
didn't
out
know
with.
he could
like,
rhyme.
like he didn't come out with just his fists. Like motherfucker had Hulk hands on.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
came
yeah.
out like beating the shit out of him. I love it though, because to me like there hasn't been like a good rap beef type of thing in hip hop in a while. Like it's been sort of.
oh, yeah, dude. Been
There's a
long
bunch of
time.
like little. I might throw a line in here that may or may not be about somebody, maybe misconstrued, whatever. But there hasn't been like.
Yeah, this shit's been
anything
all
like
like
this.
kind of cheeky.
Yeah, there hasn't been like anything like this in a while, and I'm curious to see where the Super Bowl, how that goes too. So I guess that's to be announced.
To be announced.
At number 2, Ice Cube finally gets some fucking revenge on all those earlier diss tracks that we had out
No
there for him.
Vaseline.
Everybody who's seen Straight Outta Compton obviously knows this song, and he probably knew it beforehand. I would say this is like one of the blueprints for like a nasty ass
Yeah,
diss
it is.
song. Like the guy just fucking
It bounces and every line is fucking tight, hilarious, shit talking. Love it.
it was a good mix of ruthless and comical. Like
Yeah, yeah.
shit that would just make you like, oh my god,
Like, I
he
can't
said
believe
that?
he's right. Yeah, it makes me think of like, yeah, in a school, like if you're in a schoolyard or whatever back in the day.
Yeah,
and
like
he's
somebody
just
would
like,
say
boom,
some
boom,
like,
boom, and they're like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah. And Easy's dick is smelling like MC
That's
Red
what
shit.
I was just.
you know?
That's
I'm
funny.
just
I was
like,
just gonna
oh,
say that.
fuck.
Like
This shit's so.
the amount of disrespect that was in
Yeah,
that
that
song.
just
is
one fucking line is
astounding.
hilarious.
It's bizarre.
Oh yeah. So I mean, everybody should definitely listen to that song if you're having a bad day. It'll make you smile.
Yeah, it's. I have to, like, imagine if I were on the other end of that song, like, say I'm Eazy-E and I hear it
Yeah.
or whatever, like, I would laugh at that.
Yeah, you'd have
like,
to tip your fucking hat.
You'd
dude.
have to be, dude got me.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I mean, that shit
it's
is
just
funny.
that funny. At number 1, I think we've talked about this before, and this to me is like this sets the standard.
This is my
here.
favorite,
Like,
yep.
People have used this as like a term now for like dissing somebody.
Like a reference to the song.
Yeah, it's like a reference to the song.
Yeah.
It became its own. It set its own definition outside of the word just from the song. Nas Ether, which was directed at Jay-Z. I never put the Jay-Z thing on here, but I will say, just before we get into the Nas thing, like
Yeah.
his takeover track was still pretty damn
Takeover,
good.
yeah. I'm not a Jay-Z fan, like, really.
Reasonable Doubt was dope. The Black Album was dope. Blueprint was fucking great. Like Volume 2, 3 were good, but then
How this track starts out, though, Ether, with the fucking gunshots.
and he just says fuck Jay-Z.
Yeah, that right there, you're just like, oh, fucking A. And
I
it's
love
not, so you know it's going to be, like,
He calls
not
him
some
a
bullshit.
He calls him a Tybo ho. No mustache having no mustache having, whiskers like a rat compared to beans you whack. I think is how that goes.
That shit's so
It's
funny.
just fucking. Can't remember off the top of my head how long that song is, but I want to say it's 5 minutes of just absolute Jay-Z disrespect.
Yeah,
and,
there isn't even a fucking real break in it, is there?
The little ether break.
That's
thing.
about it, though.
That's about it. It's sort of like a bridge between another bar or the setting of the
Yeah.
next. But yeah, that song, I mean, ever since I like first heard that as a kid, like
Oh, that's right, like the Godson across my belly shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
prove you lost already. Ever since I heard that song as a kid, like that song made me not listen to Jay-Z for a long time.
No, I
Just
mean,
because
like,
I was
I
like,
think that's like like a thing that did it to me too. Was like because I'm in such a Nas camp when
yeah,
I was a kid that I was
no,
just like immediately biased, you know?
100%, I get it. I
Yeah,
did the same shit,
it's
but
like fuck
then
that
you go
shit.
back like with an adult set of ears and
Yeah,
listen to Jay-Z, and you're like, oh, okay, dude could rap.
yeah.
But
I like. No, honestly, I do like like Jay Z's production and shit on his albums. I mean, that's like the shit that I'd be listening for. You know what I mean?
but him and Nas like hashed this out down the road, and but this was an ongoing thing for like quite a while. Like that shit was talked about like big. Like that wasn't quite Biggie and Tupac, but it was up there.
Well, it's like I'm just the line in this song, which kind of pertains to some shit going on today, is like, is he Dame Diddy, Dame Daddy, Dame Dummy? Oh, I
I
get
get
it.
it.
You're
You're
Biggie
Biggie
and
and
he's
he's
Puffy.
Puffy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that shit's nasty. Rockefeller died of AIDS, and that was the end of their chapter. Like that shit's
that's the
fucking.
that's the guy
Ugh.
you chose your name, your company after.
Yeah.
I rock hoes, you rock fellas. It was a quick run of our 10. Obviously, everybody's 10 is going to be different, but I just wanted to do this for fun.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
I fucking love diss tracks, and this has been a lot of fun going back and listening to all these and just kind of figuring out where would go or what would go where. But, like,
And
some
it's like you only
honorable.
have the one person. You got to create a song around shit talking. I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
actually takes a
It
little more
takes a
than you
little bit
think.
of talent.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to say about Not Like Us was the cover of that single was fucking the artwork for it.
hmm
You know what it is?
For the single.
Mhm.
Uh.
It's a picture of Drake's house, but all the little red pins that are on it
Yeah, yeah.
were like if you were searching a sex offender map.
Oh.
And that was another thing that I was like, oh man, he
There you go, man.
took
That's what
a
I'm
shot
saying.
right at him.
Fuck you on the cover.
But a couple other things like that we didn't throw on the list, like I did mention MC Shan, Kill That Noise. Cannabis Second Round KO was great. Jack the Ripper, LL Cool J. The Bone Thugs and Harmony, 3-6 Mafia, back and forth
Oh yeah,
shit.
dude. You can watch those
That was
guys
all good.
battle. I like Jizza Paper Plate. I think that's good, but it's not like very famous.
No, not really, but it's still a good song. Obviously the Eminem MGK battle back and forth.
Oh yeah, Kill Shot.
And what was the MGK? Rap Devil.
Rap
And
Devil,
like
yeah.
the DJ Quick and the MC8 shit. Let us know in the comments what you think as far as what your favorite diss track is. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram,
Yeah, let us know what's up.
Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.